Hi, this is Scott with 4D Tech. Today we are in a 13 to 16 body style Lincoln MKZ that came equipped with the MyLincoln Touch Sync 2 system but lacks navigation. We are going to be installing the navigation upgrade for Sync 2 from 4D Tech in this vehicle. In order to perform this installation, we need a few basic tools. A Phillips screwdriver, T20 Torx, 7mm nut driver, and some plastic dash removal tools. Let's get started. We first need to remove these pieces of trim on each side of the center console. To do that, we'll take one of our dash removal tools, get underneath the edge of the trim, and kind of pull up and out to release the clips. And then follow our way up the dash. And same on this side. Next, we need to unclip these large panels on each side of the console. It's the whole side of each console, but it's all just clips, and you pull away and then lift out. So you'll start in the edge like this, just unclipping. You'll have to reach down and unclip the bottom ones as well, all the way to the front and all the way to the rear, and then lift the panel out. You'll have to push it up against the seat a little bit to get it out of the way. And then do the same thing on the passenger side panel. Once you have all the clips free, you'll lift this one up and out of the way also. We'll open up the console, and with those panels out of the way, we'll remove the 4 screws. There's 2 up here and 2 back here on the sides. With those 4 screws out, we're going to want to grab a hold of this compartment and pull up, and then pull back to unclip it. You can either disconnect the connector down here and set it aside, or just pull it back and it'll be out of the way as well. Next, we need to remove the screws that hold the front control bezel on. There is a 7mm screw here, one here, and then there's one back in this recess where my finger is. And then this T20 has to come out as well. And then it's a mirror image of it on the other side. And next we'll remove the two T20s. And then it's out of the frame, but there's two more 7mm right all the way at the bottom here underneath the lip where the cup holder console meets, and those have to come out as well. With those out, we'll move up to the top. We'll take one of our plastic dash removal tools, and we need to remove this speaker grill that is at the top of the front bezel. And we'll just get underneath there with the tool and our finger and work our way around. And once you pop the clips, we'll slide that out of the way. And there are two 7mm screws down here below that cover at the top edge of the bezel that have to come out. With all those screws out, next thing we'll do is grab a hold of the bezel and pull towards us. With it released, we'll turn it, and it will not turn too far till we disconnect this one connector in the bottom corner here. It's a long flat connector. The clip is where my thumb is, and we'll show you once we get it off. We push in the clip and unplug the connector. You can see what I pushed in there. Then we can turn the bezel around so we can clearly see the rest of the connections. This one here, we'll push this clip where my thumb is and disconnect that. Up here, we'll push on the clip on the top edge of this cable and unplug that one. To release this connector, you have to push in this little tab where my finger is and pull the gray lever towards you, and it pushes the connector out, and then you can pull it the rest of the way out. And then this connector works the same way here. Push in, pull the rocker, and disconnect it. Now what we need to change out is this brain on the back of the screen. You can do that by laying this whole bezel down on a soft surface. For the sake of this video, we are going to put this blanket over the opening and set the bezel in place so you can see what we're doing. You'll need to take a Phillips screwdriver and take these 4 Phillips screws out that hold the brain to the screen. Now what we'll do is we'll pop this brain off. You just pull forward on it, and we'll replace it with the navigation equipped one from 4D Tech. And when you have the screw holes lined up, it'll just slip back onto the connector that was there. Now we'll replace the 4 screws. With that brain replaced, we'll grab our bezel and get our pad out of the way so that we can reconnect everything. Everything will reconnect the same way it came out earlier. And all these connectors are keyed one way, so you don't have to worry about plugging them in the wrong way. Make sure that lever is still fully open, start to push in, and then use the lever to draw the connector the rest of the way in. Same thing with this one. The lever should be in the open position. Push in until the lever starts to move, then use the lever to pull it the rest of the way in. If these connectors aren't fully seated, the connections will not work well. This goes back in the black USB port there. We'll reconnect, clip facing towards us, down here. And then this connector, we won't be able to see it too well, so we'll go by feel. Once everything's reconnected, we'll set the whole dash bezel back in place. Now the panel's back in, we need to replace all the screws we took out. We'll start with the two 7mm at the top. With those two screws back in, we'll snap this upper panel back on. Next, we'll replace the two 7mm down low that we took out earlier. Next, we have to replace the three 7mm on each side, followed by the two T20 Torxes, one on each side. And then we'll replace the T20 Torx that was on each side here. Next, we'll need to put the center console compartment back in. We just need to slide that forward, making sure that the tabs on each side are overlapping the sides of the console, and push forward till it lines up, and then clip down in. Once it's clipped in, we'll grab the 4 screws, putting 2 in the front and 2 in the back on each side. With those 4 screws back in, we now need to put the large side panels back on. We need to carefully slide the panel back in between the seat and the console. You'll have to push on the seat a little bit to do so. You start by lining up these upper tabs that you can see easily and snapping them in, and then work your way down to the bottom. And then the driver's side also. With the large panels back in place, we need to replace these small trim panels on each side of the cup holder center console. You'll start by snapping them up near the top, and you kind of have to bend them to align the clip here into the hole, and then finish snapping it back in. Then do the same on the passenger side. Last thing we need to do is install the supplied SD map card from 4D Tech into the SD card slot inside the center console. You'll take the SD card and put it in the SD card slot, label side up, and push it in till it clicks. Once that's done, we'll fire up the vehicle and see the new system load up. We now have a navigation icon in the upper right hand corner in place of when it said information before. And when we push navigation, you'll see we now have our maps as well. Now you see how simple it is to install the MyLincoln Touch Sync 2 navigation upgrade in the 13 to 16 Lincoln MKZ. I'm Scott with 4D Tech. Thank you for checking out our video.